God damn, I feel fat. All right, I feel fat. No. Oh my god. Here we are. Oh, that's over here. Oh, goddamn, I thought that was a stream and I couldn't hear it. All right, I feel fat. Oh my god. Here we are. Post. Yeah. There we go. All right, live. The okay. Well, let's wait a little bit here. The holy shit. Make these things smaller. The U.S. Secretary Anthony Blinken stated early today that while Bahrain, the last night missile and drone attack by a Houthi terrorist group in Yemen was the large-scale attack we have seen so far, and that it was fully supported by Iranian intelligence and weapons. Secretary Blinken further states that if these attacks continue, there will be consequences. Consequences in what form? Of course, still on the table, but you know. Oh, I see. Right. Sweden has announced that it will be stationing. God damn it! Why is it so goddamn big? That's what she said. No. Sweden has announced it will station 800 soldiers in Latvia under within NATO contingents. Command by Canada. The Swedes, 86 will command. The Swedes wants to provide deterrence against Russia, regardless whether or not they are NATO member. Good on them. Good on them. First, let's get on here with the other news here. You might be wondering what's happening in the U.S. Why am I doing that? I wasn't supposed to do that. My bad. My bad. What's happening in the U.S.? Well, Finns almost finished now. Gary bringing in record low temperatures over the weekend. More than 140 million of us will be in below zero temperatures by Monday. And it is just not just below zero. It is what I'd say fucking below zero. It is really, really below zero. It is very dangerous here. But take a look at what the northern part here of what appears to be America will look like. Take a look at it.
On the way here over the weekend with very dangerous wind chills Saturday afternoon, a cold afternoon, Rapid City, Bismarck. Same thing for Madison and Chicago. And imagine if you get that foot of snow in Chicago and then the wind chills as we go through Sunday morning are going to be 18 to 20 something below zero. That wind's going to be blowing it around and it is going to look like the Arctic out there. 40 below wind chill.
Now, it's funny because there's a certain person that some time ago, I say it was about a year ago, said that we are going to start experiencing Arctic blast or Arctic winters. Funnily enough, now we are experiencing Arctic winters. Now, whoever that was, must have been a smart guy. It was me. I said it. I said it was going to happen. This is serious. Obviously, the winds are coming up from Canada, up towards from the North Pole, very likely. But as you can see, in the northern part here of Israel, that's Israel, my bad, America, we have, of course, Bismarck, Billings, that's going to hit records high. I was talking to Kit. Oh, I thought you said I was talking to kids. I was like, what? Welcome in, Woodgie. But yeah, remember someone that used to say, I said that we were going to start experiencing Arctic winters. Denmark has experienced Arctic winters, and not necessarily that Arctic, but it's certainly up in the minus degrees. Norway and Sweden, not unlikely, but it still hits records high winters. And now America here in minus 45 Fahrenheit. I'm assuming it's minus 45 Fahrenheit, not minus 45 degrees, which of course is equal to about, what's that? So minus 44 Fahrenheit in Celsius. So that's minus 42 degrees Celsius, which is still a lot. It is below the freezing point of what a human can survive in, and it's enveloping whole states. You know, homeless veterans, definitely homeless people in general, let's be honest here, are going to have a bad time. People with not properly insulated houses, people with poor infrastructure, said like that, it's going to have a hard time keeping himself warm. Of course, what you might need for this sort of conditions, I mean, the good thing about America is that a lot of people do still have fireplaces. You know, it's a good thing that they do. Of course, people in America is much more, they're much more survivable. And I must say, you know, in times of toughness, even when your own government is working against you, the Americans continue to be quite resourceful, and they are survivors at heart. They really are. But this is serious. I mean, this is very serious. This is not just a wind, a gust, okay? This is minus 44 degrees. It's enveloping the northern part of America here. It is serious. It is, I mean, it is serious, you know? Homeless and vets. Well, you know, the whole category, yeah. It's serious.
Sioux City, Bismarck, almost 40 below, and then
look how it continues to drop and go up and over.
Even into Monday,
Look how the rapid change right there as well. I mean, look at the change in that, because it goes from minus 10 in about, that's Saturday 1 p.m. to Monday, so that's 2 days. 2 days, it's going to be like this, okay? It's going to be minus 47, minus 37, which is still fucking freezing. And then down here in Kansas, it's going to get to 30 minus degrees, which is, not degrees, sorry, Fahrenheit, which is about, what 28 degrees, 27 degrees, about this. So I will say to you, this is very, very serious, okay? This is not something that we usually have in America. Believe it or not, listen, the northern part of America, obviously, this part that lies very close to Canada, you know, despite you thinking that Canada is a big, you know, Canada is a big, well, wasteland. It's not really a wasteland. There's not a lot of people live there. It's a big open Arctic kind of country. Of course, up here it's completely frozen. It's believed that the winds are coming up towards from the North Pole. I mean, swaying in over Canada. That's the only places that does experience an Arctic poles. Don't have me. I don't want to start to explain why. Obviously, I know why, but I didn't. You know, a lot of explaining there. But they, you know, it's definitely winds coming in from Canada. We know that. We can see that on the pattern. But this level, I mean, not, you know, in history of America, you see that sort of levels. I mean, if you go back in time, there has been periods of different times in Earth where there has been tougher winters. There's cycles in the Earth, or the sun's rotation and the Earth's rotation around. I don't know exactly why it happens, but apparently once in a while we do experience a colder period in the Earth. Now this could be happening because of you've been here in Kansas for 21 years, and I don't ever seen anything close to that. Yeah, exactly. And listen, I mean, this could be happening for a number of reasons. This could be happening because, I mean, the current, the Gulf Stream is shifting because of all the ice melting. There was an ice block on the sides of London that, you know, the size of London, which is quite large. London is quite large. Washed up here in Canada and actually smelted in Canada. It could be pushing the currents away, or it could be a weather phenomenon, or simply winds coming in from the Arctic. But it's happening all over the globe, which I'm telling you, it's happening. There's a lot of northern winds coming in over. It's happening here in Sweden, a lot of Scandinavian countries up towards Scotland as well. Seen a lot. Russia is completely full of full of snow, and it is certainly moving into sort of very cold period in our history here. So keep an eye out on it. I've got more on it actually. So search and rescue efforts are in fact due to avalanche at the Palisades Terre Haute in Lake Tahoe. Eyewitnesses say multiple people were buried in a slide while continue to add updates and more information comes. I've got one more video here for you actually that I came across here. One second here. This is 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 55 seconds. It's gonna explain a little bit more, and we'll watch a little bit more on YouTube later about this winter. Make sure you're completely up to date on this, but it's very serious. I mean, this is not just something. This is something, you know.
We're following breaking news right now out of Lake Tahoe. We've just learned that there was an
Yeah. So sorry, I was muted. So lowest temperature was minus 10 Fahrenheit. You're about to beat that because it's going to be minus 37 Fahrenheit. Okay, it's going to be minus 30. No, what was that? 30. I think it was minus 30 Fahrenheit. And in some areas, minus 37. So it's going to be much more than what you think. It's going to be hitting records never seen before. That far into, and to think about it, that far into America as well, that far into America doesn't happen. Okay?
Avalanche earlier this morning at Palisades Tahoe on the Palisades side. Eyewitnesses are saying multiple people were buried in the slide. Now, Ski Patrol search and rescue crews from the resort are conducting a search on that ski.
3 storms. The next 10 days, 3 storms. You can see it right here. 3 massive storms are heading in over America. I said it again. I say it again. The world's changing in front of our eyes. 3 storms in 10 days.
Run at this time, and of course,
Florida right now, by the way, is completely a lot of parts. I think it was it California or Florida? I think large part of in the down towards the Atlantic, underneath down towards the Caribbean, we have a lot of damage. We have a lot of the damage right now happening.
of course, we will update you as we learn more about this unfolding story. Let's take a look at where Palisades is. It's just north of South Lake Tahoe and south of Truckee. So we put it on the map right here. Here are the conditions. It is snowing currently right now. And of course, there's so many factors that go into avalanches, but the avalanche risk has been high for these areas because of this winter storm. But you still need a trigger. You really have to.
Winter storm. It's all winter storms. When you get storms this late into the season, and also, by the way, in this sort of, you know, you see up there, what's, you know, this is rain, this is rain, this is ice, this is sleet, that's snow. That's rain, that's all snow. Right? When you get storms into this season, it's gonna be very, very cold storms. I mean, it's gonna bring along a lot of cold winds, especially from where it's coming from, depending on where it's coming from, of course.
To look at the snowpack and, of course, the temperature within these storms as well. So again, it is high with the snow that's falling and also the high winds that have been seen at these higher elevations. So here's a look at the estimated snowfall over the past few days. They've seen about 3 to 5 inches of snow, but of course, as you start to get
take a look at it's not high level snow. You see out here towards the outer skirts, you have about 1 inch. 3 inch, and then you get in towards about 5 inch in there, and then into some patterns there, probably, you know, this is in the middle of it, you are heading up towards the what appears to be 5-8 inches, not above that. 5-8 inches is not a lot in snow. I mean, snow levels 5 to 8 inches is not a lot. I mean, it really is not. So I mean, it's not, we're not talking about, you know, sort of mountains of snow. Yeah, it's that one, yeah. So we're not talking about mountains of snow. We're talking about a quite good bit of snow, but not too much snow, you know. But this far into America is also quite, you know, it's not unseen, but it's definitely, you know.
Get that on any unstable areas. It doesn't take much, unfortunately, to start to trigger that avalanche.
Avalanche as well.
So let's put this into motion and show you what this avalanche could look like and why it may happen. So here's a look. Steep slopes continually releasing the snow, and preventing a deep snow.
Avalanches in America.
Because the deeper the snowpack,
not unheard of, but it doesn't happen every single fucking day.
Break, and that's when you start to see that avalanche. So let's put this into motion here. Of course, we have different snowpack layers. We got the slab layer. layer, we got this weak layer, and then we have the bed layer. What can happen is, depending
It's quite important for you to know this, so do watch this.
on the temperatures, the wind, the water content from a winter storm, those snowpack layers had that variation, and that variation isn't always bad, but sometimes it can be, because that can bring in a bit of a break, and then it can make these layers start to slide, and it brings in an avalanche to some of these spots. So as we put this into motion here, once something is unstable, it really doesn't take that much, just a little bit of a trigger, unfortunately, to break up one of those layers, and we start to see that
Look at
avalanche
that.
starting to
Yeah.
roll down those slopes. And this is what it can look like. I mean, near zero visibility.
So
and
here's the checklist, okay? Don't go to mountains on alone. 90% of the avalanche deaths are due to human trigger. Plan routes ahead of time. Wear a transmitter device. This is not, I'm not telling even if anybody of you in here is going to go skiing or something like that, or go climbing mountains, but just be aware of these things right here, okay? Don't go and do stupid things in the winter. Wear a transmitter. That's the most important thing you can be wearing. You can buy those, I think, pretty much in any ski store or whatever store. I don't know, a gadget store or something like that. I don't know, but you can probably buy that pretty much everywhere. You can. They're pretty common, especially in areas like this. But, you know, do remember to be careful, okay?
extremely dangerous situation. So, of course, don't go to the mountains alone. I know a lot of folks may want to ski on some of those spots and get up those into those lifts and just be by yourself, but you really need someone with you and someone that knows where you are in case something like this happens. 90% of avalanche deaths are due to a human trigger. And you're just not going to know. You're just going out on the slopes. Plan the route ahead of time. And, of course, always wear some kind of transmitting device. You can't always rely on your phone. But if you're going to be out and about in some of these spots, especially some of the pro skiers, folks that are there a lot.
Do not believe in your phone when it comes to these temperatures, okay? Please do not use your phone and believe that your phone is enough for a transmitting device. Because phones reliable in not only this cold, you know, when it's this cold, the reliance on your phone becomes very, you know, short-lived. Just saying.
Lot, you really have to have that safety top priority because, of course, avalanche, we do have a high risk right now in many of these areas, and of course also popular areas.
Listen, we'll take a look at some more of these winters to make sure you're completely compared on that later, okay? Ain't going on a mountain? Well, good on you, 86. Yeah, don't go to the mountains, okay? Especially not now. Wait. Do not go to a mountain when the snow has just fallen. Let it set. Let it be there. Because it can happen, okay? You know, it's people are happy to go snowing and ski when it's, you know, happy to go skiing when it's snowing, but it's dangerous, okay? It can be dangerous. So watch out. Watch out for yourself and for everything. Is that Air Force One right there? Yeah, that's Air Force One. Okay. We got Air Force One up here. I know that because if there's a Boeing, yeah, 767-200 behind it, that's definitely right there. That is definitely, that is Air Force One right there. Right now it's over Chicago. Keep an eye on that one. Okay, and more news in America. A sub train. A subtrain, so a subway train, derails in Brooklyn. It's the second derailment in Brooklyn in New York City mass transit system in less than a week. This happened less than a week ago as well. It's not happening again. It's derailed. We don't know if it's because of the cold. I reckon it's not. I reckon it's because of the fucking poor infrastructure, but whatever, right? You know, but I don't know. Let me show you something else here. Reaction to a San Francisco Board of Supervisors chambers voting 8-3 in support of resolution urging the Biden administration and Congress to support a ceasefire in Gaza. I just put in the rescuer. It's alive in danger. Yeah, as well. I mean, the rescuers are trained for it. Some people always go around like saying, "Oh yeah, but rescuers are trained for it." Just because you're trained for it and you got a lot of experience, doesn't mean you can't die doing it. No matter how many times you've done something, it never gets less dangerous. This right here is a rally because they sort of got it in some fucked up little city somewhere. I don't know where. It was in San Francisco, which is not a little city. San Francisco is not a small city, but they got a supervisor chambers voting 8-3 in supporting of urging a ceasefire. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that in this point, in this stage of the war, do not want the war to end. I want the war to end in Israel. I want the war to get over with so we can move on. Want Hamas gone. This right here is them chanting. Take a look at the hair colors, the way people dress, and the way they look, and tell me they look like people that should be making decisions. Now, I'm not pointing anything out here, but just take a look at every single one of them in this room and tell me they don't fit the stereotype. Look at that. Look at that. You know, don't tell me that doesn't fit the fucking stereotype right there. Oh yeah, and back there as well. Look at that. Look at that. Back there as well. Yeah. No, okay, that's just an old woman with red hair. And then we got the vegan teacher over here. Apparently, they all wearing the same goddamn terrorist headscarf because apparently their country didn't fight. Because apparently 9/11 didn't happen anymore. You know. I mean, half of them look like they. This guy right over here apparently he's in the military. He's wearing some kind of weird hat there, all wearing the goddamn same clothes. Don't tell me they don't fit the stereotype. And I'm not gonna hate on the decision, but I will hate on the idea that. I mean, what happened, right? I mean, sensible goddamn people. Listen, these are the people that always ruin stuff for everyone else because they have so much power nowadays. You know, it's like it's ridiculous. You know, and who really? I mean, honestly, she's wearing. You know, if you went to Afghanistan or any country wearing that sort of scarf or looking like this, I'm not gonna point out her flaws. But I'm just saying that you're supporting a country in where if you move there, a lot of these people in here supporting makes sense why they would be supporting. They look like they have a second ethnicity, and that would make sense. But you go into a Muslim country looking like this, it's not exactly going to help your cause, will it? Listen. Why don't we send? I'm gonna put out an idea here, right? I'm just putting out an idea. Why don't we send all the red hair people with all these ideas of how every person in the world is against them and they're the victim of everything. Why don't we give them a week in the Middle East and then see how they react, you know, and see how they feel when they come back, because they have no idea what the world is like outside. And I'm hearing air raids going off. I'm hearing air raids going off in Ukraine. It's unknown as of yet what the air raids are going off for. Ukraine is quite red here. Some parts here towards the Russian border here is becoming red. Do not hear any reason as to why. There's pop-up. There's normally some kind of icon that will let us know what the threat is. There's currently no threat being shown, so they're still figuring it out. But I'm sure we're going to get to know that soon. Now, I'm just pointing that out. Why don't we do that? Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Why don't we do that? Well, listen. I'm not saying that everybody with colored hair is ridiculous. Okay? It's when you color your hair and have political discussions on a top level and they give you room to talk. Okay? Now, I'm not pointing out everything. I mean, not everybody with colored hair. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that everybody with colored hair is ridiculous. I'm just saying we all know who I'm talking about. We all know who I'm pointing towards, okay? And I'm not sitting here saying that everybody with colored hair is a ridiculous person, but I will say we all know who we're talking about, okay? You know. We all know who I'm talking about, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and point out, you know, like every single. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. Why don't we give Elon Musk a week in the Middle East and see how he reacts? Really, give Elon Musk a week in the Middle East. He was in Israel. You know, send him to the other countries. They're probably gonna actually no, don't do that because they would probably have him on their side, wouldn't they? Yeah. In 2023, across the British countryside, Ukrainian recruits. Okay, so I'm reading some EU and NATO news here. I'm moving on now. And I'm moving on to some news here from the UK. It's called Air with the ones shots shaved. They're the ones. Exactly, Widget. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. No, but listen, hey, I'm not, you know, against people having opinions and all that stuff. I mean, everybody's entitled to have an opinion. I just think to have an opinion about a country that you've not studied or been to is a ridiculous thing. I have opinions because I spent a lot of time watching these countries, watching these people. Yes, I have never been to Ukraine, but I don't opinionize Ukraine. Yes, I've never been to Gaza, but I don't talk about, you know, what Gaza should be doing politically. Well, sometimes I do, but you know. Internet for a minute. Oh, you lost internet? Well, fair enough. I mean, listen. Everybody has opinions, and everybody's entitled to opinion. I just think it's ridiculous that we're giving opinions towards people that haven't seen the outside world. You know, if you give opinions towards people that have been in the situation that you're talking about, if you were to give an opinion, it's basically like when you're into school, right? A lot of experts nowadays are basically people who have taken, you know, who've taken their Academy Award-winning education, right? They've taken a really great education. They're really educated people, and then they come out and talk about child safety, right? And they come out and talk about children as if they have been working with children, and they know what's best for children. But the thing is, they've never worked with children. They don't have children, or they don't know what's best for children because they don't work with children. I'd be more entitled to believe that the opinion of someone who takes care of children, like teachers or people who work in kindergartens, people like that who take care of children, I'd believe that their opinion is much more valid than somebody who either has more money or is more educated. I don't give a fuck what a celebrity says. I give a fuck about what, you know, people who, teachers and all that stuff says. That's what I give a fuck about. But, you know, that's another point. I'm moving on now because I'm not going to sit here and talk about that. I can go on and on, okay? I can go on and on. But listen, we're going to move on here because I got a really great video to show you. Over 33,000 soldiers have been trained in Op Interflex. More will be trained in 2024 as the UK and the international partner continue to support Ukraine. We've got a really great video here that came out directly from the UK. It's a really great video. Check it out. This is literally, looks like one Asian lady and one Palestinian with a baby, and the rest have just... Well, that's one way to look at it, John. That's one way to look at it. Yeah. Okay, so check this video out here. It's really cool. It's about the UK training the Ukrainians, and also I want to point out just how much in depth the British had gone to helping the Ukrainian train in urban warfare. Check it out. obviously it's very little that you can show, but I just want to point out just how thankful I am to the UK, because I think honestly, if there's anybody who continues to be a great military president and continues to be great at what they're doing, it's the UK. They fought the Nazis off. They came up with the Nazis, and their own reason why we don't live in a Nazi world right now. I'd say so. I think the British are part of that reason. And also, I want to point out just how amazing it is that they've built a town, simulating home that they can train in. And that's 33,000 soldiers have been trained in this. That's why the Ukrainians are doing so well on the battlefield. And when I say Ukrainians are doing well, a lot of people's going to point out, oh, well, they haven't advanced yet. Listen, the Ukrainians aren't trying to advance. That's what you're going to get. The Ukrainians aren't trying to advance. Now, you think they are, and they are in some parts. They're trying to fight back the Russians, but are not actively trying to consistently advance. What they're trying to do is wear down the Russian numbers in such high velocity that one day they can advance. At least that's, as far as I understand, that's why they've gotten to it now. Dang it, back. Lost internet for a bit. I think that might be the weather. Which it might be the weather coming in already. You don't know. It might be the weather. Can't tell you. Hopefully you can stick by. In other news, the Slovakian Prime Minister, said today that Russia needs security guarantees and Ukraine is incapable of a new counteroffensive. I want to point something out. These people, okay, sometimes there's a lot of people like in powerful positions. Notice when they start to get worried, because when these people start to get worried, they will say stuff like this. They will say, oh, Russia needs security guarantees and Ukraine is incapable of conducting a new counteroffensive. They won't give you reasons why Russia needs security guarantees, and they won't give you reasons why Ukraine is incapable of a new counteroffensive. They'll just say it. They'll put it out there. Because they're trying to make the EU question. When you are desperate, and when you're desperate to cling to power, when you're a pro-Russian, pro-Putin guy that wants to rule his country forever, right? Or at least in a great matter of time. If Russia loses, if Putin loses, that influence that you have, the influence over the people, will diminish. These people right here, the Slovakian president, if you take a look at him, he's stressing. He's fucking out of his balls because he's so stressing right now because he's got nowhere else to go. He has to say this because if Putin loses, people like Urban, people like the Slovakian prime minister, people with far right ideas like the communists or anything like that will lose. They won't have anything to say anymore because the free democratic world won. That'll make people believe in the free democratic world because it'll make me believe it. But that's what I'm talking about. And that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's what I'm pointing that out. You got to look at these people. NATO members pledge further support in Ukraine to Ukraine in 2024. Outline plan for $1 billion in aid, or billion euros. Keep in mind, a good little article here came out today. NATO members. Oh, we can actually get it read.
NATO members pledge further support to Ukraine in 2024. Outline plans for billions in aid.
Okay, I was going to do that, but then I realized, no, I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous. NATO members have re-armorified their commitment, that's right, to bolstering Ukraine's defenses and will continue to provide military, economic, and humanitarian assistance to Ukraine this year, the alliance announced in a statement following the NATO-Ukraine Council meeting on January the 10th. The NATO-Ukraine Council was created at the NATO summit in Vilnius in July. I think that was the one. That's the one in Lithuania, right? Or am I wrong? I think it is. Latvia or something like that. It's one of the Baltic states. I think it's in July 2023. It provides a platform for a conciliation and decision making between NATO and Ukraine. Many allies outlined plans to provide billions of euros or further capitalize in 2024. The statement said. As Moscow intensifies its strikes on Ukraine, cities and civilians, NATO allies are boosting, boosting Ukraine's air defense. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said, "We will continue to stand by the brave Ukrainians as they push back against the Russian war of aggression." Ukraine Air Force Commander, Mikhaila Olshchuk, or something like that. I can't pronounce that. And Deputy Interior Minister, Oleshki Shehivi, something like that, took part in the meeting via video link. Holy shit. Olshchuk understood the significance of pilot training and the provision of the F-16 fighter jets to fortify the capabilities of Ukraine air defense. Ukraine's mission to NATO said in a statement. The announcement comes a day after. Okay, what's that? Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo said on January 9th the EU will further scale up support to Ukraine after Belgium started its term leading the European Council. That's a lot of words right there, but what I'm trying to say here is the NATO is still very much behind Ukraine. That is what I understand from that one right there. Ukraine is very much still being supported by NATO. Russia continues to lose its massive numbers on the battlefield, and it is losing more numbers than it actually can replace. Russia could produce about 200 tanks, I believe it was a year. Russia is losing about 1,000 tanks a year or more. I'd say Russia could be at this point, they're probably scaling back the amount of tanks they actually have left, and Russia is losing their tanks at a rapid pace. They can't keep these numbers up. It's not going to be kept up. So, right now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you take a look at the amount of Russian losses, we'll just skip forward here. The tank losses lately, after they hit 6,000 tanks, have diminished so much. Because they hit 6,000 tanks, and it's been a good couple of days, and they've only taken 38 extra tanks. You think to yourself, maybe that's because Ukraine is low on ammo. No, it's because Russia is low on tanks. Because the reason I'm telling you that is because look at the troop numbers. That should tell you that. And then 13 APVs and 23 vehicles, 13 artillery systems, and 2 MRS, 1 UAV, 3 special equipment, 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, and everything like that, right? They've taken a lot of things other than that. That requires, special abilities and special rockets or systems to be able to take that out. Systems that also could be able to take tank out. But why aren't they taking more tanks out? Because there isn't more tanks to be given. Russia is scaling back its tank force at the front because they don't have any more tanks. Keep in mind, Russia had a tank force, an official tank force of 8,000 something. Russia has to maintain a certain number of those tanks in an eventuality if they were to go to war against NATO. They can't send all 8,000 because they can't produce enough tanks to better resupply. Now, in 2000 and something, the numbers of the tanks they may be able to reproduce would be greater. They could potentially be able to produce more tanks. But the problem is, to be able to keep the Ukrainians off advancing, they need they need heavy armored vehicles at the front. That makes sense. You need heavy armored vehicles at the front to be able to keep the Ukrainians off advancing. So they have to send more tanks. But if there's no more tanks to be sent, then there's a lot of shortages of tanks, probably. I'd imagine that, not only is there armored vehicles, they need all these things. They need fuel trucks, they need armored vehicles, they need tanks, they need artillery systems, they need MRS. All these things cost a lot. They have to focus on tank production. Not only does an MRS cost $1 million more, maybe $1 billion more compared to what a tank costs, but losing these are so costly. They've lost 956. Russia still has probably a lot of tanks left in terms of like older tanks, but it's not enough in any way possible. And it's not enough to take on a more modern force that Ukraine now possesses. The tank numbers are going down because the Ukrainians have taken out so many tanks that the Russians, I believe Putin's become embarrassed. I'm telling you, I think Putin has become embarrassed about it. I don't think he's sending more tanks because he's afraid to lose his tank force in an eventuality that he might not be able to actually fucking get it through. I mean, that's what we're able to use them, and effectively just lose his tank numbers, having to replace those tank numbers. To replace the tank numbers he's lost now, he'd need, I believe it's about 6 years. Russia would need 6 years to probably rebuild its tank force. That's without sanctions. With sanctions, it's probably more 10 to 15 years. Also, the amount of APVs, the amount of artillery systems, that would take them decades to replace because they still have sanctions. Russia can't replace its losses. It's a lie. They completely tell you that Russia can continue to replace their numbers. They can't. How would they be able to replace their numbers? They have a lot of metal. But we don't build tanks just purely out of metal anymore. Sure, the outer shell is metal. But listen, nothing in a tank anymore, it requires, I'm embarrassed for him. I'm embarrassed for him too. It's a lot. But you have to think about the factor is, in World War II, having enough metal was enough because you built tanks out of purely mechanical parts and mechanical tanks. Now those tanks are still mechanical, but they're much more electronic. They require electronic chips. They require a lot more things to be able to produce. I can't name all the things, but they require a lot more things to be able to produce, and it requires a lot more of a special sort of technician, which they don't have a lot of. I mean, Russian tanks are, keep in mind, very easy to maintain. They are very simple tanks. That also makes sense when you look at the numbers of losses in Ukraine. But it doesn't just require metal anymore. It requires a lot more parts to be able to produce. Now, Russia does have a lot of that, but it doesn't have those components. They would have to build the components in hand, which would take them years to be able to produce that. Russia can't rebuild its army at a level that would match NATO ever. I'm just going to put it out here. Russia has lost. Even if it takes more parts of Ukraine, there's no way that Russia would ever be able to match any NATO power. Any. Okay? Even Denmark, with its limited forces, could be able to take on Russia at that eventuality. So, the more we give to Ukraine, the weaker the Russians become. It would take them decades to re-emerge as anything, and if they ever would. And the sanctions are working on the people. And if Russia purely builds tanks and tanks and tanks and tanks, what amount of money is going to go to the people? And if the people starts getting so poor and they don't have any food, which is very likely, that may happen. I mean, if they run out of the basic needs to living, which is already happening, by the way, then it's very likely that the people won't take it anymore. So Russia, as much as you don't like to say it, the only reason why we think that Russia might be doing anything is because we have Erdogan and we have the Slovakian president in EU still trying to keep on to some power. And the reason why they're trying to cling on to some power, they know they've lost. Even if Ukraine loses parts of it, they have lost. They can't replace the tank numbers. It's impossible. They can't replace their plane numbers. They can't do it. So it's over. Okay? Russia's lost. No matter how much you take of Ukraine, Ukraine has a lot more land to be taken. No matter how many square miles or square kilometers they take, It won't matter. They lost. That's it. They lost. Take it into your mind. They lost. I mean, we won. People say we didn't. People say we still have more to the left. The only thing we have left is to kick them out of Ukraine. That's true. But in all over, when you look at their economy, when you look at the way the people live, when you look at their military, we won. The only thing they have left is their nuclear forces. That's the only thing they still have that matches anything. So they lost. It's nothing. They lost. You know? I mean, take any look at it you want. You can name me anything, and I can say you that's not going to happen. They're not going to fight NATO. They're not going to ever be able to fight NATO in any way. Because now NATO is waking up to the idea that they need to build a lot more weapons. So it's true. Anyways, moving on. A mass strike of train drivers have begun in German traffic. Train traffic is severely restricted, and passengers are urged to refrain from traveling a large number of routes and have been cancelled, and train stations are empty. The train drivers union is demanding higher wages and inflation compensation bonuses. While the trains are not running, the farmers who went on strikes earlier are blocking the road with agricultural machinery. So nobody likes Scholz. I think what's best for Germany, what's best for the whole world, or at least a lot for Germany, is to get rid of Scholz. Get rid of Scholz. Save Germany. Because he's not a good leader. He can't do it. The reason, Angela Merkel, she was different. She was a beast, okay? She was a beast. Angela Merkel, she was a goddamn beast. And some people call Margaret Thatcher the Iron Lady. I call Angela Merkel the Iron Lady. But I don't know. I'd get rid of I'd get rid of Scholz. I'd get rid of Scholz. He's a nice guy, but he's just not doing it. He's not capable. I'm just saying. Ukraine and Russia news. Canada has not handed over its NASAM air defense system to Ukraine, which is promised last year. Ottawa announced plans to hand over the air defense system on January the 10th, 2023, so literally a year ago. But almost a year later, one of the two companies involved in the construction of NASAM systems said it did not have production contract and request by Canada, reports CTV News with reference to Canadian press. Although Canada paid the U.S. government $406 million for the NASAM system last March, it remains unclear when it will reach Ukraine. P.S. No words. Yeah, you have no words. That's right. That's still Air Force One up. Air Force One is heading towards Canada. I don't know where Air Force One is heading, but it appears to be heading towards Canada. So have a good time in Canada, apparently. That's a weird fight pattern. Why is Air Force One doing like the weirdest fight pattern I've ever seen? It's increasing it's going up in the air now. It's going further up than it was before. It went over towards Chicago. It did a loop around down here. It went around like this. And it went over towards Chicago. Did like a turn, and then did a turn again. And now it's heading towards Lake Superior, or whatever, Superiority, or I don't know. I can't pronounce these. I can't even pronounce American names. I'm bad with names. Sorry about that. But this is Air Force One. Boeing 747-200. That's Air Force One. It is, right? Yeah. I mean, it is. Obviously. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it is. Airport Ramstein, United States Air Force. Yeah, that is Air Force One right there. It's got to be. Can't be any other plane. Where's it heading? That's so weird. Why is Air Force One going over there? God damn it. I don't know. It's you gotta admit it's a weird flight pattern. Anyways, you might see the title of this stream and wonder what I'm talking about. But it came out today that North Korea uses Ukraine as a testing ground for ballistic missiles that can carry nuclear charges. This was announced by the permanent representative of the South Korea at the UN, Hwang Jung-kook. That was really racist. I'm sorry about that. Holy shit. I don't know why I said it like that. I should have just said it normally. I don't know why I said. I'm sorry. No offense. Just Hung Wang Jung Kong. I can't stop myself. I gotta stop myself because I don't know why. Every time I see an Asian name, I want to say it like that. I want to go. I just want to go. Hung Young Cook, because that's the way they say it. That's the way they say it. But I and then when I say Kim Jong Young, I always go. When I say Kim Jong Young, I always go Kim Jong Young. It's not great, but it's funny to me. It's not funny, but it's, I'm sorry. Sky News reported that North Korea is using Ukraine as a sort of testing grounds for its massive. I seen a missile at Odessa. You saw a missile at Odessa? I can't tell you if you saw it or not, man. I didn't see it. A lot of E6s airborne. You're right about it. I can't tell you if you did or not. C6, C3. I didn't see one, but maybe you got just as much chance of seeing one as I got. Thank you. I gotta know. Are you on Flight Trader or Freddy? Are you on Flight Trader or are you on ADSB? Holy shit! I mean, it's a lot of plane activity. It's a lot of special plane activity. And there's a lot of P8s up. There's some P8s up. Some E6 up. But I haven't seen any E6. Usually there is a lot of. Usually there's 2 E6 up, but I don't see any of them. Oh, Air Force One just went offline. Yeah. Air Force One just turned off its transponder. This is mad interesting. It is. I just tell you right now, Air Force One, the United States Air Force One, just turned off its transponder. One second, guys.
All right, dudes and dudettes, I'm gonna show you how to.
Sorry, it's because I gotta do something real quick because I gotta redo it. What was it? Oh, it's not this one. Oh, that's right. You can do it nowadays. Filters. Add new filter. Aircraft. Airline, airport, aircraft. Enter. Oh, there we go. This one. There we go.
Hey,
I gotta see if I can track it. I gotta do these ones right here. I gotta put this one on. And I gotta do Flight Trader. And I gotta put that one in. And I gotta click all these bad boys right here. And it's a whole thing, guys. It's a whole thing. It takes a little bit. I should have done this before the stream. My bad. Is because if you want to track aircraft on Flight Trader, you got to do a special thing. Yeah, I got it now. All right, I got track on Air Force One as well. That's not Air Force One. What the fuck? All right, this one showed Air Force One, but this one didn't show Air Force One. Look at that. I mean, it might be two different planes. One thing about this is it might be two different planes because this one, there is some times where an E4 will be following. An E4 will be following the Air Force One. It could be following Air Force One, which is the thing. But it's not showing off here. And it did say, and I swear to God, it said 747-200. You saw it. It said 747-200, and it didn't say this. But it could have been this one, and ADSB fucked it up. But swear to God, you saw it. We can go back. It said it. But look at that. They got an E4 up here. E4 is the Doomsday plane, by the way, guys. You search it up. E4 is the Doomsday plane. So that's interesting. It could be tailing Air Force One. Air Force One could have gone off transponder, and usually there isn't a Doomsday plane nearby Air Force One. It does happen. So this is interesting. No, it's flying the exact same way Air Force One did, so it could be the one we were tracking. But still, it's weird why it's heading over there. That's something weird there. It might be it might have been this one fucking up, or it might have been something else. But we'll keep an eye. I'll keep an eye on it over here for now. See if it goes into Canada. I'm gonna bring it over. But for now, we'll move on. That's interesting. In 2024, the French company, I want to bring up something, another US stream who reports flight activity. All right, fair enough, Freddie. Well, let me know if there's any differences. I mean, that guy could be putting out false information. I don't know. I'm just saying. Everybody could be. So, the French company, Europlasma, will deliver 60,000 cases of 155mm shell to Ukraine. That's enough for about 15 days at the front. Didn't Europe want to increase production? So, in 2024, a French company plans on giving 60,000 cases for 155mm shells to Ukraine. It sounds like a lot. 60,000 cases. Oh my god, and in 2024 alone, that's enough for 15 days. It might be enough for a month. It's not 15 days, but it's enough for a month. It's enough for a month. That's, I mean, I'm just pointing out here. 16,000 is about enough for a month's worth of shelling. Then you won't have it. And if you're gonna split 16,000 shells up into 12, right? So we got 16,000 divided by 12. That's 5,000 shells per month. So 5,000 shells per month is what this company is going to be able to produce Ukraine. That's nothing. It's literally, in terms of war, 5,000 shells for you able to deliver towards Russia. It's literally nothing. That's less than the daily use of shells. That's enough for about a day use of shells. That's insane. You know? So yeah, I got more air raids going off, but I think it's an all clear. We got all clear air raids going off right now. All right, now that one's over there. That's weird. The Ukrainian government has added that the American chain Subway to the list of international war sponsors. The reason for the decision was the operation of 550 restaurants owned by Subway in Russia. If you didn't know, Subway is still operating inside Russia. But who gives a fuck? I mean, really, is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna sanction Subway for operating inside of Russia? I mean, I get you hate Russia and all that, but really, is it worth sanctioning Subway? I mean, I'm just saying, like, Subway isn't exactly known for its standards. You know, you think Subway's known for its amazing standards. Let me just tell you one thing. I'm not from America, but as far as I know, talking to American people, Subway isn't exactly known for its lovely standards of either work conditions or, I mean, work conditions might be fine. It's a good job for most young people. Many young people have it. But it's a good job. But, you know, work conditions and you know, it hasn't really, you know, it's not really, you know, what I call high end. But that's not the point. That's not the point. 2 drones attacked the Eagle 2 military airfield in Russia today. This morning, the Russian defense minister reported that one drone was shot down over the Saratov region, and the head of the region clarified that one drone was shot down over the Angels district. Astra Media reports that there were 2 drones. They were shot down and fell on the territory of the airfield. The consequences are still unknown. A Russian Tu-160 strategic bombers are based at the airfield. So the Angels airfield in Russia may have been damaged, and some planes could have been damaged. We don't know yet, but it could be interesting. We're not gonna take a break, obviously, but we're gonna take a smaller sort of intersection here because we'll be watching Zelensky for a bit here for about 5 minutes, and I'll be back right after. If you don't like watching Zelensky, even though you should be liking, he's a nice guy. Come back in 5 minutes, but just gonna watch some Zelensky here. He's gonna give you the daily update of Ukraine, or at least some of it, and some other things. So have a good time watching.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці і українки. Перша ставка. Сьогодні було особливе засідання за прямої очної участі усіх основних командувачів та керівників операцій. Разом з Головкомом, Генштабом, Міноборони, Мінстратегпромом, Мінцифри детально проаналізували забезпечення снарядами і дронами, розподіл між бригадами та підрозділами, щоденні потреби, фактичні витрати. Головне, уся логістика має стати швидшою. Проговорили також відкриття нових ліній виробництва зброї та боєприпасів в Україні, на наших підприємствах та разом з партнерами. Звичайно, розглянули постачання, яке очікуємо цьогоріч. Попри усю наявну проблематику у світі, наш акуратний, чіткий підхід до кожної потреби, до кожної можливості здатен забезпечити сили оборони усім необхідним. Ми бачимо, як реалізувати українські пріоритети цього року, що для цього потрібно, хто для цього потрібен та які сигнали можуть спрацювати. Окремо і детально проаналізували роботу наших повітряних сил, усіх наших захисників неба, результати збиття російських ракет і дронів, те, що вдалося, те, що має вдатися. Продовжуємо працювати із усіма партнерами, щоб посилити нашу ППО і одночасно, щоб посилити тиск на Росію. Санкції світу, безумовно, працюють. І працюють непогано. Є чіткі свідчення гальмування російської оборонки. Але щоб результат санкцій був 100%, так само на 100% мають бути перекриті і схеми обходу санкцій. А також потрібні нові глобальні кроки проти тих, хто продовжує допомагати Росії. Кожен у світі знає цей невеликий перелік спільників тероризму. Будемо говорити щодо цього з партнерами додатково. Сьогодні провів вже 3 телефонні розмови з лідерами: президент Румунії, президент Польщі, прем'єр-міністр Бельгії. Я подякував Румунії за той рівень співпраці, який вже досягнутий. Ми маємо надзвичайно хороші результати і в Дунайському регіоні, і в Чорноморській співпраці, і загалом у взаємодії між нами. Цінуємо підтримку Румунією нашого руху в Євросоюз. Точно маємо потенціал, щоб збільшити транскордонну взаємодію і в тому числі у трикутнику Україна, Румунія, Молдова. Обговорили з президентом Йоганнісом сьогодні деякі перспективні питання щодо оборони, те, як можемо разом зміцнити позиції. Зокрема, обговорили підготовку наших пілотів F-16. Хороша розмова була з президентом Польщі. Я вдячний Польщі за незмінну допомогу Україні в питаннях про наш вступ в Євросоюз. Щоб не відбувалось, стратегічно ми працюємо все ж разом в Європі. І сьогодні обговорили, зокрема, нашу взаємодію в питаннях роботи з НАТО. Україна має стати членом Альянсу. Поінформував президента Дуду щодо ситуації на фронті, а також про триваючі російські удари і наш захист, наші потреби. Зокрема, потреб у підтримці. Я ціную слова президента Дуди про єдність, яка нам так необхідна. Важлива розмова із головою уряду Бельгії. Зараз Бельгія розпочала своє головування в Раді Євросоюзу. І я вдячний за те, що підтримка України та міжнародного права є одним із пріоритетів бельгійського головування. Ми разом з Бельгією досягли деяких дійсно проривних речей, зокрема щодо використання російських активів для підтримки України. І це один з тих прикладів, коли бельгійське лідерство має глобальне значення. Я вдячний і за підтримку санкцій проти Росії, а також за чітку підтримку нашої євроінтеграції. За цей рік ми можемо значно просунутись і в питанні щодо переговорів про вступ з Україною, і в питанні щодо більш рішучого ставлення світу до російських активів. Агресор повинен платити за те, що він накоїв, і це справедливо. Звичайно, з усіма лідерами говорив і про нашу роботу щодо формули миру. Вже скоро зустріч радників у Давосі. Працюємо, щоб вона була і достатньо представницькою, змістовною також. Це нам вдається, і я дякую усім, хто допомагає. Слава усім, хто працює заради свободи, усім, хто воює заради свободи, хто робить усе, щоб свобода ставала міцніше, і щоб терор, саме терор, програвав. Кожен тиждень менше можливостей для Росії. Кожен тиждень більше можливостей для України. Слава Україні!
Want to watch him again? No. Thank you, Zelensky. Slava Ukraine. There we go. While Zelensky might be having a great time, the Russians sure is not having a great time. Again, the Russians appear to not know how to stop fires from happening in their own goddamn countries. But a Ploymer, I don't know how to pronounce it. I really don't know how to pronounce it. 36 in the air, flight 324. All right. I am not getting that, but I'm sure it might be. I'm sure it's true. I don't think Flight Trader, or at least the one I have, don't track E6s. I'll check it after. But a plant in Obolkuvo in Moscow region experienced the spontaneous combustion, a rate of fire over 8,000 square kilometers around emergency workers deployed. Hundreds of emergency workers deployed. Take a look at this. 8,000 square kilometers. Slava Ukraine. That's, 8,000 square kilometers more than Russia could ever dream of taking. That's huge. Thank you. Good job. Whoever that was. Good job. What do we got? We should have got goddamn see some of those goddamn E6s. I can't see any goddamn C6s. I don't know why. Usually I'm able to see them. God damn it. Usually I'm able to see the E6s. Why can't I see the E6s now? I don't know. I can't see those goddamn E6s. What the fuck are they doing in Canada? Why is everything turning around? What the fuck are they doing in Canada all of a sudden? What's that east? What's that guy doing? I tell you what, this guy right here is heading over towards the goddamn... He's heading towards Canada. I've never seen a doomsday plane decide to all of a sudden head towards Canada. Why is it heading towards... Why? Where are you going, buddy? Where's it going? I just don't get it. Lithuania pledges almost 220 million, they say, dollars in 3-year support for Ukraine. Lithuania defense minister said that most of the funds from the 2024 to 2026 support plan will be allocated for the needs of Vilnius-led the mining coalition in Ukraine. I was right. It was Lithuania. I was right. That's where the Vilnius or whatever. A man shouting "Glory to Ukraine" or Slava Ukraina was detained in Russia Red Square today. What a hero. It appears that the man thought, well, fuck this. I'm just going to risk my life. I'm going to be sent to the front lines, join the Ukrainians, and fight the goddamn Russians. Here you have it. He does appear to be a little drunk. Story of the Russian life. He does appear to be a little drunk. And you have a lot of people in the background probably shouting "Glory to Russia" or something like that. Moving on from Ukrainian news here. Sorry, I didn't get to make much news here, but I'm getting the headlines out. The Kim Jong-un, the little rocket man, Asian news here. Or not Asian news, sorry. Asia news. not just Asian news, sorry. Asia news. Trolled Putin today with eggs. The North Korean leader went with his daughter to look at eggs from a local poultry farm, while very timely he decided to demonstrate to the world that the DPRK has enough of everything. It's difficult for two dictators who are used to greatness and self-rule to start perceiving their colleagues on the same level as themselves. As an instant, here is one of them deciding to show who's powerful. At least they are not competing with nuclear weapons. Well, at least they're not competing with... Oh, sorry, I don't... right. But here you have it. He's checking out all kinds of eggs from their very healthy chickens. Oh, so many eggs in the background here. Of course, this is many of them going directly to Kim Jong-un's breakfast. This pallet right over here is reserved for next week. This is what he's going to be eating. That one's next week, and then that one's also, and then maybe the last pallet over here could go to the people if he's really nice. But this right here is probably... I mean, they're X, but, it's like him showing off. Look at this. We have X. Like, you're really down low when it comes to your country's rule that you have to show off the fact that you have X. Let me just be honest with you. Most countries in the democratic world, or, because they claim to be democratic, they are the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which they're not democratic, but they claim to be democratic. But news story, Kim Jong-un, most Democrats or most democratic countries don't show off their egg collection because it's not a fear that we don't have enough fucking eggs. We have enough fucking eggs. We have good enough eggs. Russia doesn't have eggs. Apparently he's running out of eggs. I don't know why. Reports of Indian army drones striking Myanmar. The United Liberation Front of Assam, independent ULFAI, says 3 bombs hit its camp in the jungles of Myanmar. It's the only separatist group from the Indian state of Assam refusing to enter into peace negotiations with the government. Yeah. Here you have it. This right here is Myanmar. I watched the video some times ago. If you want to go back, I'll link that video in the I don't know if I would link it in the channel or something like that. I put it out on the stream there, and this is called DLR something news, global news on YouTube. You can go watch. They make great videos. Myanmar is a civil war. They've been in a civil war for quite a long time. Apparently India, because they're so close fought. Well, we'll get involved as well. Some stupid shit. Now, you might have heard of what's happening today. Some interesting events have taken place here in Ecuador. The Bavarian, whatever, Minister of the Interior Victor Torres Falcon has ordered the immediate deployment of special forces with the Directorate of Special Operations under the Peruvian National Police to the border with Ecuador in order to prevent the conflict in a neighboring country from spilling over to Peru. Yeah, or Peruvian, whatever. I don't know. An EE-11 Uruto amphibious armored personnel carrier with the Ecuadorian army spotted on the move tonight in the capital of Quito, following the executive order by the president called earlier today of the armed force deployed into the streets. This is the Ecuadorian army right now. It apparently is at war or something like that. I believe it's against the Mini Cartel or whatever the fuck it is. Apparently they thought bringing along an amphibious vehicle was the right choice, even though they're driving in dry on the land. But it doesn't matter. They got a lot of guns. It's a personnel carrier. That's why they brought it. And then there's a guy with a car behind him that started beeping his horn at them. Yeah, that makes good sense. But you might have known what happened. A police station. No, sorry, not a police station. But a station, a TV station, or TV studio, was on live TV or live channel, invaded pretty much. People with gunmen came running in with guns and all kind of bullshit. But they've since then got the situation, what I'd say, under control. They've arrested the men. So take a look. Here they are coming out. The very professional police wearing what appears to be very civilian gear. Or I don't know. But that's the gunman right there. That's one man. That's two men. They're keeping their hair low there. Very much believed to be part of some kind of cartel, gangs or something like that. A lot of them. That guy looked pretty beat up. That guy's very beat up. Obviously, I believe violence were used. I mean, obviously they use violence, so the Ecuadorian police use violence, and that's very common. Yeah. Also, panic as a gunman stormed the Guayaquil subway station in Ecuador. Passengers taken hostages. There was also a gunman in a subway station. And the Ecuadorian army has declared 22 criminal groups as military targets. It appears to be separate armies or some kind of military gang members or cartel members with guns that appears to be running rampant in the country. And 22 criminal groups has been targeted and apparently are supposed to be gone within the next hour. I don't know. But I haven't heard much towards. I'm sure I'm going to get more of it a little bit later here. But the commander-in-chief of the country's armed forces had ordered soldiers to neutralize the militias without entering into negotiations with them. The day before intense clashes broke out in Ecuador, the mafia declared war on the state. Criminal groups demanded from the president to cancel martial law. They took over the subway station, police station, schools, stores, abducted and took dozens of people hostages. In particular, the presenters of the live TV channel. Later, they were released. Also, local media claimed that the prisoners from the first Ecuadorian prisoners currently holding 120 security guards and 14 administrative oh my god, important people, workers hostage. Massive riots in the country began after the leader of the largest group, Los Choneros, Adolfo Macias Vilama, escaped from prison. He was sentenced to 34 years in prison. The world is becoming a less and less safe. It appears to be sort of a Hamas-style attack. Prisoners taken, informed. The reason why when you are against an army that's twice your size, taking prisoners does limit the chances of you getting hurt. And that's certainly what we're looking at. Look at that. So that's the same plane. Because that's got to be the same plane. Look at that. So this one's facing this way. So this one's on Flight Trader, and it's apparently, I don't know if it's lost track, but now it's turning back. So apparently the E4, which appears on this one, see, it says 747-200. It says that it's Air Force One. 747-200. That's Air Force One. The picture doesn't show that one. The picture doesn't. Look at that. It says, look at this. It says 747-200. So it says it was Air Force One. This one says it's an E4B. I don't know what the fuck it is. Now it turned around. Okay, great. So now it's turning around, still heading towards Canada. It was over here, now it's over here. Now it's turning around again. All right. That's fucking weird. Why is it doing that? No matter what it is, I don't fucking know. That's weird, you know. That's weird. I gotta be honest with you. That is quite weird. That's a weird flight pattern to be taken. Either if it's Air Force One or if it's an EB4. I believe it's an E4 because Flight Trader does sometimes have it better put together than what ADSB does, but I don't know. Watch our operational recap areas: operation, evacuation of civilians, and elimination of the terrorist leaders. This is Israel news. Now, I will say to you guys, I was wrong. I admit to be wrong. I've continuously said to you that Gaza is 45 square kilometers long. That's false. I heard it somewhere, and apparently I just went with it because I heard it. I did not know that I was wrong on that. It is not. It is 235 square kilometers, so it's much larger. It made sense that it's much larger. I don't know where I heard it from, but apparently I was wrong. That's pretty much the only thing I was wrong about on that one. But I will show you this video here put out by the Israelis. About 1 minute of, there you have it. So no, I'm wrong again. 365 square kilometers. I was wrong. I was way off. I don't know where I heard it, but apparently I heard it somewhere else. But this right here, I think what I heard was that the city of Gaza was 45 square kilometers, and then I assumed that it was Gaza, but the city of Gaza is 45 square kilometers. So that's what I think I heard. Maybe that's what I heard. I don't know, but I think so. But we'll move on.
In northern 20
we'll move on. Just gotta we'll kick check for yeah. I got it. Great. Okay, it's a good video. Watch it.
This is Gaza. It covers 365 square kilometers, and its population is over 2 million people. This is northern Gaza, where we began our ground operation and have been fighting for the past 3 months. In northern Gaza, Hamas had 2 military brigades with 12 battalions consisting of about 14,000 terrorists. From Jabalia, for example, hundreds of terrorists committed the murderous massacre in the communities of Sderot, Nir Am, Erez, Kfar Aza, and Netiv HaAsara on October 7th. Jabalia is a densely populated area, as you can see in the film, with about 25,000 buildings. 1 in every 10 such buildings is multi-story. Before entering such a dense area for combat, we evacuate the population, aiming to prevent harm and protect the civilians while allowing military action, as it prevents Hamas of protection under the guise of the population and allows us to distinguish between the population and Hamas terrorists and target them. In these strikes in the Jabalia area, we eliminated the battalion commander, the deputy brigade commanders, and 11 company commanders leading the terrorists in the field. The senior terrorist we eliminated in the area is Ahmad Randour. You can see him here in the picture, sitting with his command echelon in his underground bunker, 40 meters underground. We precisely struck and eliminated all the people with him. Eliminating the commanders made it difficult for the terrorists to fight in an organized manner and led to many of them surrendering.
There you have it. That's pretty much the sum up of what's happening. Now, it's gruesome stuff, I'll admit. Now, I will say something that's been on my mind a lot lately. That's the type of only call sign Air Force One with the president's aboard. President on board. Well, sometimes I've seen Air Force One called 747-200. They don't usually call them Air Force One. It's not called Air Force One when it's on Flight Trader or 88Speed. It's not called Air Force One. It just looks like Air Force One, and you can see the picture of Air Force One on it. But it usually is not called Air Force One. But I don't, I wouldn't know if it was called Air Force One. But yeah, the type of plane is the same plane. The 747E4B is a 747-200, but it's modified. But it's not. But the difference is you call it an E4B. So you say 747E4B. You don't say 747-200, because 747-200 operating and with the United States on the side of it usually means Air Force One. But I don't know. I mean, it's probably an E4B. It's probably E4B. As far as I understand, that's what I know of. Now, I've been thinking a lot lately, guys, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's a bit of a controversial thought here, but I admit I was wrong about one thing there, but I intend not to be very much wrong. So the thought that's crossed my mind lately is Israel has some of the best spies in the world. Israel knows where every leader of Hamas is. Israel knows when every time Hamas moves. They've admitted to knowing every time Hamas contacts each other, talks to each other, moves, does anything. So I'm just, because they had pictures, they had they literally knew where the tunnels of where the tunnels of Hamas was. Now, I'm not going to put this out here and say it's a theory and it's not proven, but a few days after the October 7th attack, a source came out from a pretty trustable source that stated that Egypt had warned Israel a few days before, but Israel denied that Egypt warned them. Egypt said to Israel something might be happening soon. Now, a lot of people didn't believe them at the time, because why would Egypt do that? Why would Egypt, when they've clearly been on the side of Hamas on a lot of the points? I don't know, but they definitely said that Egypt had warned them. I will be honest with you. I don't know if Israel knew. I'm honestly conflicted in the factor of, because there's been multiple sources, very trustable sources and news outlet coming out saying that some people had in fact warned Israel of the impending doom. How can countries like Egypt, with its very minimal range of espionage compared to Israel's very not limited espionage, know that something like that was going to happen compared to Israel? It seems unlikely to me. I'm not going to sit here and say that Israel knew it was going to happen or that Israel wanted it to happen, but it just have been wrecking my mind lately. How the fuck could they not have known? They have the best spies in the world, and they didn't know. They have the best intelligence in the world, and they didn't know. They know if an Iranian train filled with rockets take off from Iran, and they know how to target that train. They know exactly where it's going to be, but they couldn't track 30,000 terrorists amassing at the border. I mean, really. I'm just saying, I know that is a crazy conspiracy, but it might not be a crazy conspiracy, but it certainly does beg a question. And now the leader of Israel is being called out for corruption. The leader of Israel is being called out for corruption. I'm not sitting here and saying that Israel knew it was going to happen, but it just seems so unlikely to me that they didn't. How did they not know? They have the best intelligence services in the whole goddamn world. That's really no lie. They are the best of the best. I mean, it's just weird to me. But I'm going to let it be as it is. We can't change the past. The past happened. It's about the future now. The future of the existence of Palestine and Israel. And I will say to you guys, I believe that there should be the two-state solution. I certainly believe that there should be two states. I've never been against the two-state solution. But I am against the Palestinians and the terrorist organization firing rockets over Israel. Of course I am. I'm against terrorism in general. Most people are. But I've also seen videos of how the Israelis are treating the Palestinians. And that's past. That was before, October 7th. There's been a lot of mistreatment. But I don't know. I can't tell you, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm not this kind of person. I'm not this kind of person that goes all soft all of a sudden. But, moving on. It doesn't matter. But, it's been on my mind lately. It's been on my mind. The Yemen Houthis launched a massive missile and drone strike on a U.S. Navy ship in the Red Sea. The UK and the U.S. Navy shut down more than 20 drones and missiles fired to Yemen along maritime trade routes. What appears to me right now is that the U.S. and the UK is very much on a warpath. They've started to warn each other. They've sort of gone towards each other and gone, listen, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. We're so this one right here as well came out. Look at this. The UK Chief of the Defence Staff, Admiral Sir Tony Radakin, Radakian or something like that, held a phone call today with the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Charles Q. Brown Jr., regarding the incident yesterday in the southern Red Sea, as well as the ongoing conflict in the Middle East and Ukraine. Now, people like that don't make calls to each other unless they're planning on doing something. Two high-ranking people, they are counterparts, and obviously they talk to each other. But it's not often they call each other up and actually start talking to each other.
Hey everyone.
We're here in Bahrain as part of what has been an intensive diplomatic push across ongoing now in Gaza.
Okay, but a interview with Anthony Blinken, I think his name is, I can't remember, came up some time ago. No, I'm not gonna sit here and say this one person right here is the greatest source ever, but we're gonna watch this because it did come out. But here you have it. This is Sky News here, and it came out some time ago. It's true, but we're gonna watch this. This is him explaining a situation here.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're here in Bahrain as part of what has been an intensive diplomatic push across the region. Bahrain, of course, is a critical partner for the United States, home to the Fifth Fleet, and I want to thank His Majesty King Hamad for receiving us today and for the very good conversation. We were focused on making sure that the conflict ongoing now in Gaza doesn't spread to other places. That's been our focus since October 7th, and it remains our focus today. That makes it particularly important that we respond when we see something like the aggression coming from the Houthis that continues to be repeated, directed at shipping in the Red Sea. There have been hundreds of attacks now since November on shipping in the Red Sea, affecting more than 40 countries, tied to ships with from 40 different countries. And we had the biggest attack, UAVs, missiles, just yesterday. These attacks have been aided and abetted by Iran with technology, equipment, intelligence, information, and they are having a real-life impact on people. You know, we talk about concepts like freedom of navigation and the importance of holding it, and I know that can sound a little bit abstract, but it means something very real in the lives of people. What's happened because of these Houthi attacks against commercial shipping is that thousands of ships have had to divert, take longer routes, pay more for insurance, and that gets translated into higher prices for people for everything from fuel to medicine to food. It's disrupting supply chains, and so it's having a real impact on people around the world in their daily lives. We know all about the hostages in Gaza. Well, the Houthis have taken more than 25 hostages from the ships that they've seized since this fall. So all of this has required us, this challenge, this threat to the interests of countries around the world has required us to respond. We put together Operation Prosperity Guardian with more than 20 countries, including Bahrain, to do everything we can to preserve freedom of navigation, freedom of shipping in the Red Sea. And in fact, the United States and the United Kingdom, two participants in Operation Prosperity Guardian, responded effectively to the attacks just yesterday. We also had some 20 countries come together to make clear that if these attacks continue, as they did yesterday, there will be consequences. Again, this represents a clear threat to the interests of countries around the world, and it's important that the international community come together and respond to them.
Yeah. You heard the man. You heard the man. It's the United States of fucking America heading to war. I don't know. But Iran is getting bold. They aided in an attack yesterday from Bahrain. They've aided in Yemen, with the Iranian-backed Houthis operating in Yemen. They've done things that can be seen as an act of war, as an act of aggression. Now, I cannot sit here and say that I do not wish for Iran to taste its own medicine. Iran is putting people's lives at danger. They are putting people's and civilians' lives in danger every day. The way they're firing missiles, ballistic missiles, anti-ship missiles, raiding, killing people like goddamn Vikings. Now, I'm a Viking myself. No, I'm not. Listen, Viking is a profession, not a it's an old profession. Obviously, being a Viking doesn't exist anymore. You might be an ancestor of a Viking, but being a Viking doesn't exist. I mean, you might be an ancestor of them, but mainly you're just Scandinavian. I'm Scandinavian, but it's the fact that their tactics are brutal, like the Vikings. What they do is brutal, and they need to be stopped. They need to be stopped with an overwhelming force. Like Jack Kennedy said, John F. Kennedy, your response must be swift and goddamn massive. He didn't say that exactly, but it's along the lines of what he said. I believe in those words, and I believe in them as much as I believe in anything else. I will not sit by and watch this happen for much longer. I can't do much about it, but I really hope put them back into their place. But the slope we're going down, we might have to do something eventually. Anyways, moving on. Mrs. Olena makes trench candles for Ukraine defenders at the front line. In her spare time, she reads Psalms and prayer book. God bless her. I can't know what that is. This woman right here appears to be in the old age, but that doesn't stop her from helping her country win a goddamn war. She's packing these things right in here into this candle right here. And they will then be sent to the front line, and they will be used as candles and to keep the soldiers warm and to be able to make them see. Look how many she made. She made so many. Look at it. Look at the amount she made. I mean, it's crazy the amount she made.
275 штучок. Моя робить мама такими натрудженими ручками. А у вільний від роботи час читає псалтир.
And she's a praying woman.
Господи, невже ти, Господи, не змилився над цією бабушкою?
Write it down
Не
there.
пошлеш мир в Україну. Бися своїм натрудженим.
Great job. Great job. Thank you. Country make your country proud. Like you have for so many goddamn years. She knows. She lived in the USSR, probably. She looked like she might have been alive during World War II as well. I mean, I can't know, but, you know. Tsunami hits Japan. 3-meter high tsunami hits the nuclear power plant after earthquake. No damage reported as of yet. Not aware of that. I mean, that would be all over the news by this point. Something about Bitcoin? I don't know. I'm hearing a lot about Bitcoin lately, but I'm not really into it. We are gonna watch the news about here from Flash. Daily news from Flash. 5 minutes here. I'm gonna give you anything I missed. I probably missed a bit.
Далеко не заходь, стой там, Льоха!
Только что пролетела ракета.
Нету двойного дна еще.
Давай, Саня. Саня, иди сюда.
Давила. Я попробовала так, плечо вроде бы.
Наразі ви бачите самі, що ситуація дуже важка в наших містах і селах. Не ігноруйте сигнали повітряної тривоги.
Que se vaya la policía, que se vaya la policía.
All right. Well, we promise you that we watch more weather news because we do need to get that over with. Well, not over with, but well, we will do that. Weather news. That was not so in their TV station. It was not so. Yeah. What we got here?
Så mange hoteller. Så lidt tid.
What's an ad?
Let's get to our top story. That new round of severe weather, it's just sweeping across.
All right, we
the
have
country.
today's show, or whatever
snow,
that
rain,
is.
and wind. A large part of the
Here you have
country
it.
in the crosshairs. Heavy snow overnight.
Look
Stretching
at that, heavy snow. It is heavy snow. Look at that. I don't know if that's a mountain. It's probably a mountain enough. It's probably not snow all from underneath all the way up there, but it's a lot of snow.
New Mexico to the plains and into Iowa. These are the conditions in Sioux City this morning.
That storm, by the way,
New
heading
Mexico.
east, where a big concern here is
In New Mexico. It's all the way down towards fucking Dallas. It looks like it's hit Little Rock downwards Dallas. Listen, these places don't fucking get snow. Texas is not exactly known for its large amount of snows. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it might have snow, but it's, you know, I mean, it's not exactly a place where you'd expect a lot of snow. It's not, you know, it's not famously known for that.
Flooding, especially for areas with snow
Chicago,
still on the
I don't
ground.
know.
We're still
Buffalo,
saturated
New
from that
York.
weekend's
New York
In
is
the
pretty.
meantime, nearly
Scott,
200 million Americans are under wind alerts this morning. Parts of the South could see tornadoes, and some schools in the Florida Panhandle are actually closed today as a precaution.
Yeah, Al's tracking all of this, but first, let's go to NBC's Maggie Vespa. Joins us now from a snowy Des Moines, Iowa. Maggie, good morning. It looks pretty bad there.
Hey guys, yeah, it is really bad here. Good morning from a hard-hit Des Moines. This largely...
It's bad. You ain't never been to a goddamn European winter. This right here is a goddamn Tuesday, okay? It ain't bad. It's gonna get bad. This ain't bad, okay? You never been to a European winter. This right here is fucking easy. What we got in Europe is bad, okay? It ain't that bad.
transformed overnight. We had like half an inch on the ground when we got into town, and now more
half an inch. Oh my God, that's so much. Jesus.
than 4 inches. You can see how thick here. More than 4 inches have fallen just overnight. We're expecting more than
fallen into a volcano crack in Grandavik. He's still missing. Goddamn tourists. Really? I don't know.
10 by the time this thing wraps up. And just, I mean, look at it. You can see how fat these flakes are, how easily this is sticking. This is the kind of thick, heavy snow that basically has officials worried about things like power outages, dangerous road conditions, several...
Big, heavy snow? Come on. Fucking heavy. Oh, I'm gonna laugh across the pond. This is not heavy. Okay? They're barely above their boots. Come on, this is not heavy.
No, that basically has officials worried about things like power outages, dangerous road conditions. Several school districts have canceled classes for the day already. And actually, speaking of power outages,
they've canceled classes for this? They've canceled classes because of this? Really?
250,000 Americans in the Midwest and South already without power this morning.
I mean, the power thing is bad. But let me tell you something. The American electrical grid and infrastructure is fucking shit. Because I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of storms and high winds. But the fact that your electricity goes out every single time anything happens and you haven't adapted to the idea that you're going to get high winds is a little ridiculous. I'm just going to be honest.
54 million Americans from Texas up into Michigan, obviously covering...
That's bad. Okay, now we're getting towards where it's getting bad. Okay? See, that's bad. That's bad.
From Texas up into Michigan, obviously covering the Des Moines area, and then up into New England
2
under
inches,
those winter storms.
2 inches and you cancel the class. Soft.
Alerts. And then you mentioned, I mean,
see,
the
that's
triple threat
bad.
that is this
This is bad right here. Look at the trucks falling off the roads and stuff like that. Slippery roads. That's bad. This right here is getting bad, and you can barely see anything. That's bad weather conditions. But canceling school, what's happening in the cities, I don't know about that.
We talk about the wind. Some of the wind gusts that we've seen, especially yesterday going into last night, topping 70 miles per hour. Nebraska,
that's bad.
In particular, there goes a plow here in Des Moines. Nebraska, in particular, was a mess yesterday. We saw wreck after wreck after wreck, with authorities say at least one of them being fatal. Back here in the Iowa territory, obviously, back here in Iowa, more broadly looking at timing, this is also messing with politics. We're less than a week out from the caucuses, guys. And yesterday, it was a big headline. Presidential candidate Nikki Haley had to cancel a campaign event because of this snow. It got that bad that quickly, and people were already worried. Now we're seeing these forecasts really come to fruition as we get close to the caucuses.
You canceled a conference because of 1 inch of snow? You canceled a speaking event. A speaking event because of 1 inch of snow. What?
This is next week, by the way. Another threat people are worried about, the temperatures. They're supposed to plummet into potentially sub-zero territory.
Now that's dangerous. The snow, it's going to get worse. Okay, guys? Now, the snow is going to get up towards 8 inches. When you get towards 8 inches of snow, that's when I want to worry. Because that's dangerous, okay? That is dangerous. This is not serious. Okay, it's getting there, but it's not serious. But the temperatures is what I'm worrying about. Because it is, when you get, if you get below sub-zero and you don't have if you don't have anything on, no insulation or anything, you cannot avoid frostbite. It would be impossible because the bus drivers don't feel safe on the dirt roads to pick up the Euro kit. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not a bad thing that they cancel school in form of safety, but it's a little ridiculous. Might be a little ridiculous. I don't know. God damn it, dude. Come on.
Let's get to our top story. That new round of severe weather, it's just sweeping across the country.
Yeah, it's bringing a triple threat, too.
But I'm just going to say right here, if you want to do something for the homeless, bring them a lot of newspapers. Because they're good for insulation. If you got any spare jackets, do bring them to them. If you do, newspapers are great for insulation. If they're gonna insulate their fingers and stuff like that, you gotta bring them some newspapers. That can actually work. But yeah, insulation is a big part. Now the biggest part of it is when you get to Arctic levels of snow and coldness. Not only will the snow make it feel much colder, we're getting into the dangerous level because you will get frostbite. If you are outside too long, you're touching the snow, you don't have gloves on, you don't have proper insulated gloves on, you will get frostbite. What's the temperature? In Mount That's the temperatures in Mount Everest. Minus 24 degrees. Okay? Yeah. Stockholm may get record low temperatures. It will probably, Freddy. Mount Everest, where people are getting frostbites, growing up in. Obviously, the air is thinner, but it has a minus degree of 24 degrees. The northern part of some of the parts in not just in the northern part, heading down towards the central part in Kansas, getting towards central, not really central, but we're getting there, is going to be above that. Okay, it's going to be colder in Kansas than it's going to be in some parts of Kansas, at least, than it's going to be on Mount Everest. You tell me if it's serious. You tell me.
Sub-zero territory. And then kind of the final layer that you talked about is the rain in the Northeast, in states like New York, where you are, in New Jersey, already states of emergency declared as officials worry about all that rain coming in. And potentially when you add that to the snow that you got over the weekend, and as that starts to melt, they say they are very worried.
I'm a little conflicted because she says below sub-zero, which is below zero. But what I don't get is that first newscaster showed that we were going to get about minus 47 Fahrenheit, which is about, 40-something degrees, 40 degrees or something, 46 degrees. But what I don't get is how the fucking temperatures even get there. That shouldn't be possible. But it obviously is possible. He said it. I'm just conflicted. Is he telling the truth? I mean, he was on Sky, right? He was on Sky. I mean, he's probably telling the truth, but it's serious. I mean, if that's true, which it probably is, it's very serious.
About severe, if not flash, flooding in those areas. So, guys, a long, messy road ahead. You can see it.
Free storms, okay? Free storms, high winds, Arctic level, okay? Follow with me here. Free storms the next 10 days. Arctic level, freezing across the country, snowfall up to 8 inches, and chances of blackouts and flash floods. Name me a scenario in anything you've ever heard of before that's fucking reminding you of the end of the goddamn world than this. That reaction there would be me. I'm just saying, it's fucking serious. Okay? It's not a joke. It's just getting serious. Really. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's already coming to fruition here in Iowa. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Maggie Vespa. Maggie, thanks.
Let us see where this storm has headed. And Baya, that's a messy map right there.
It really is, guys. Right now, good morning and good morning to you. We've got severe weather down through the southeast. We've got tornado watches into central Alabama on.
That's in Texas, in Florida. That's in Alabama right there. Now, these are probably hotter. But there's literally a few parts. There's only about a few parts of America that's probably going to be untouched of storms, blizzards, subarctic levels of fucking cold. It's serious.
Into the panhandle of Florida. We've got a couple of tornado warnings around Dothan, also Panama City, and we've got severe thunderstorm warnings. The tornado watch goes until...
Get it. Oh, yeah, and thunderstorm. Oh, yeah, just to top it off. Thunderstorms.
7 a.m. Central Time. You can see all these heavy showers and thunderstorms moving up. We widen out. You can see snow from Des Moines, Iowa, where Maggie is, Chicago.
I mean, the warm winds coming down from what appears to be the Caribbean or at least South America might help a little bit pushing some of this blizzard away. That might be good.
Detroit. So let's time this out for you. Here's what we're looking at for today. Peak impacts for Buffalo, 3 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Strong winds and heavy rain. So right here, which I'm sorry, I just realized, Witchy, you live there, don't you? That's Kansas, right? Where was Kansas? Is Kansas around here, right? Is that Kansas? No, what's Kansas? Where the fuck is Kansas? I don't know. That's one thing, you know. I don't know shit about American maps. Was I on? Was I right on? Holy shit, I was right on. That is Kansas. Yes. I was literally, I said, is that Kansas? I was right on. Alright, so you don't live right there in the middle of it. That's good. But people who live, that's Chicago. That's Chicago right there. Yeah. Buffalo. What's in the middle of there we got Missouri. I said in Illinois and Iowa, and the epitome here is definitely going to be Chicago. I mean, look, Chicago's going to be hit by, strong winds and heavy rain, plus wind travel and gust winds, wintry travel. So that's going to be snow, heavy rain, and thunderstorms all in Chicago. I mean, and in Buffalo. And across most of the U.S. there. And Michigan as well. Michigan, right there. Michigan is going to be completely fucked. Holy shit, Atlanta.
Winds, heavy rain. Atlanta now to 1 o'clock. Strong storms, flood risk, and gusty winds. Chicago, wintry travel and gusty winds till 3 this morning. We move on up to the northeast.
And then we get to work from
Peak
New York.
Impacts for Philadelphia from 3
Washington,
p.m. to 3
D.C.
a.m. A flood risk, strong winds. Same in D.C. from 1 till 11. Look at Charlotte.
Severe
noon till
storms.
6 p.m. Severe weather and a flood risk. And then we move into the northeast from 10 p.m. tonight till 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Boston, flood risk, strong winds. New York, 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. A flood risk and strong winds. Hartford till 5 a.m. You've got the same kind of weather conditions. Severe storms possible. An enhanced risk from the Carolinas all the way to Florida.
Flood risk. It's an enhanced risk of flood risk pretty much across downwards Florida. What you got? South Carolina, Georgia, and North Carolina. Every single one of those guys have enhanced risk of getting a lot of fucking flash flooding. On the other side as well of Florida there.
Tornadoes possible. EF2 tornadoes, strong tornadoes from Florida to the Carolinas. Wayne will continue with this. Wind is going to be a big, big problem. Damaging winds.
I mean, look at that. What the fuck? You're in the 55 miles per hour. It's a Category 1, by the way. I want to point out. This is a Category 1 hurricane, so it's not like It's not like if you classify this, which is not really a hurricane, but it is sort of a storm level. If you put that into, but it's in the strong wind gusts. You're into 50 miles per hour, and there's 60 miles per hour. Some areas here down towards the coast. This is where you can see some flash flooding as well. But 70 miles per hour, not really anywhere seeing. I mean, maybe somewhere up here, but not really that much. I mean, somewhere up in here in what's that, Maine? Yeah. Might see some really strong winds. It's not like a Hurricane 1 level 1 kind of thing, but yeah.
Travel disruptions, widespread power outages, wind gusts of 40 to 50 to near 60 miles per hour in the Northeast, and rain, significant rain, heavy rain, plus the melting snow, especially in the Northeast. That's going to possibly lead to some major river flooding and moderate street flooding as well. And back to the west, we've got heavy snow in northern New England, but also from Quincy, Illinois.
Look at fucking Michigan. It's completely covered. There's not an area of Michigan that isn't going to be covered in snow. It's going to have 6 inches in some part of the top of here. Most of it's going to be 1 inch. And then we have a new one right there. This guy as well is saying that most of Chicago was like Green Bay, Waterloo, 12 to fucking 6 inches in Wichita. What was that? Fucking Illinois. It's going to see most of it. Some there in Iowa. I'm having a map up now so I can get it in Wisconsin there. Holy shit.
Green Bay, low visibility, blowing and drifting snow, hazardous travel. This is a high impact storm. And guys, there's another one behind it that's going to take...
And there's another one behind it.
Almost the exact same track. So
that's going to take the exact same track. There's one, look at that. It's coming in from behind. Look at that. You can see it over there. I mean, what? What the fuck? What the fuck? I mean, I'm actually speechless. I'm not usually speechless. It's, put this into words, it might be the single most horrific scene of events I've seen when it comes to weather, pure destruction this could leave behind. Listen, here's the list of things we're talking about. Flash floods, massive flooding, could be massive. There's heavy storms coming in with a lot of water. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. You've got Arctic level fucking freezing conditions. You've got snow somewhere that can reach the 12 inches. And that's predictions. It could go way higher than that. You don't know. It could go way higher. That's predictions. I mean, most of the area is going to be 1 inch, but that's also just predictions. That's the start of it. I mean, I don't know what to say, guys. This is not just something. This is quite serious, I'd say. This is quite serious. It really is. And thunderstorm as well. And thunderstorm. It's going to be low visibility, blowing and drifting snow. It's going to hurt your face. And by the way, if there's strong winds combined with very, very cold temperatures, which there's going to be, you're going to feel a lot of it. It's going to be a lot colder than it feels, which is probably what we saw before. It's going to probably feel towards Arctic level snow and cold. It's going to be insane. I genuinely wish you guys the best, because this is, we're talking about not countrywide power outages, but we are talking about large scale power outages. We're talking about, cars, drifting off the road. There could be accidents. There could be, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, because I didn't want to say it, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. People could die. Very likely, people will die. This is no joke. Veterans, homeless people, people who are on the street in general, people who do not have homes, people who do not have conditions to keep such levels of coldness and snow out, will very likely, or could, perhaps not survive this, and would see, if they do survive it, would see severe illness or cold, at least in a severeness level. It's no joke. I mean, I don't want to watch the end here, but I don't think there's anything really for us in the end here. Nothing really. And when you're watching these networks TV and you think to yourself, they make it sound less worrying than it really is, but taking a look at what it is, it's not nothing. You know, so yeah. God damn it. Putin has flown to Cherkato for the first time. It took the bunker leader only 24 years to organize this trip. I can't believe he's never been to some part of his country. He's been in the goddamn country for 20 years, 21 years, 24 years. Been in the goddamn country for 24 years. He's been in the country longer than that. And he's been in the country for about 70 years. And also, look at that already. I mean, already, guys, already. Emergency warnings issued to Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, following extremely high seas and significant flooding. Homes are being evacuated. Floodwaters are overtake the streets. Ocean Boulevard is closed, and residents advised to avoid area. When's that upload? That was 6 hours ago as well. You know. It was only 30 centimeters of snow. I want to point out, 30 centimeters of snow is a lot. in terms of snow, 30 centimeters can be a lot, you know? I mean, America's being swollen up, I'm telling you. America's just being swollen up. WHO warns COVID is still a threat. Yeah, fucking obviously. Fucking asshole. Elite wealthy are the least of my concerns. They just go to one of their other homes. Oh yeah. Probably right on that. But it's everybody else we gotta be worried about. God damn it. I definitely advise you to keep around. Most Americans do. I reckon with you're a prepper, so you probably got generators and food and all that kind of stuff, you know, ready. I know you're a prepper because you said it before. I'm not just assuming that you're a prepper. Like, you're probably a prepper. like you're American. Oh yeah, you're probably a prepper. Like just there you go. Just immediately assumes that you're a prepper. Yeah. Yeah. Another Russian commander has died today. I'm not going to name his name because I don't really give a shit. Russia, just 12 miles or 16 kilometers from the Kremlin, 215 apartments, buildings, 8 schools, and 17 kindergartens, 4 clinics, and a hospitals are without heating and nor hot water. Look at that! Look at the best country in the whole goddamn world. The best country in the whole world is without hot water and heating. So 215 apartments, buildings, 8 schools, 17 kindergartens, 4 clinics, and a hospital are without heating nor hot water in freezing temperatures for about a week now. Because the only thing they've tried to make it fix was apparently using some kind of tape to bind it together.
ЦТП 1407.
Which, surprise, surprise, didn't work. And there's nothing being done about it.
Смотрите, что здесь творится.
That's hot water there. You can see that because there's snow around it's going away, but it's hot water. That's hot water is apparently supposed to go to the building, but guess what? It's not. They've tried to fix it, but apparently some kind of tape going around it, but as you can see, the tape unfortunately did not win against water. Because commonly known to pretty much everybody else around the world, tape does not hold up against hot water. And this hot water is not just hot fucking water, it's really hot water. It doesn't even appear to be tape, it appears to be some kind of sheet or something. I don't even know what the fuck it is. They've literally covered this up so it doesn't... What the fuck? They've just done... It's like people, because they don't have anything to replace it with. They don't have anything to replace it with. The most basic things, you know, fix this pipe here. You could fix the pipe, you know, if you're in Denmark or anywhere else, fix that pipe in like an hour. That takes you an hour. You got heating water all over. No, in Russia they don't fix pipes like the normal way. They just let it be. Let itself figure itself out. I mean, even in America nowadays, they could figure. I mean, everybody. I mean, even any average American, the average American could go out and fix that on a fucking Tuesday. You know. The average American can go out and fix that on Tuesday. Now, I will say one thing here, guys. Americans are very resourceful. I've always said that. I've always said that. Compared to, like, Danish people or European people are very fancy. They see themselves as being very fancy. Not everybody does. I mean, a lot of people are very handy with their hands. But a lot of Europeans see themselves being very handy. And they're not really preppers. And they're not really preppers, and you know, they don't actually know a lot of trades, you know, building and welding or anything like that. You know, things like you could use in your life. A lot of people, a lot of Europeans don't. A lot of Americans do, though. A lot of average Americans, they got a lot of skills when it comes to it. Not a lot of Europeans, they got a lot of skills when it comes to it as well. But we always seen ourselves as being a bit more fancy. You speak for yourself, right? I mean, I don't see myself as being fancy, but I because I'm not. Well, do I look at myself as a morally better being? No. You imagine yourself, right? Ooh. Uh-oh. What is this? Oh. That's 16 hours ago. Well, that's probably not something. I'm not going to bring that up now. All right. Okay, guys. Well, I think we are at the end of the ropes when it comes to our live stream today. I think we have talked about everything we could talk about and done what we could have talked about today. It was a great stream. We will be back tomorrow with some more great streaming for you, as we always are. Your latest update on the E4. It's going around in circles. I believe that Air Force One or the president might be somewhere here. But he could also be everywhere else. So, you know. But this is an E4. This is a doomsday plane doing circles around... what's that? Is there a bunker up here? What's that? Huntington Memorial Airport? I don't know. Yeah, thank you so much for the streams. I gotta go as well. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for stopping by.